Half Shell Oyster House offers happy hour at the bar and throughout the restaurant every day from 3 to 6 p.m. Happy hour includes $2 off all glasses of wine, liquor, martinis, mixed drinks, and draft beer, $2.50 on all domestic bottled beer, and $3.50 on all craft bottled beer. So come on out to Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Lower Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi 39232, or you can give them a call at 769-257-7586. And hey, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Today I have with me Interim Director of Marketing and Communication of Student Affairs at UAB and former Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Media at JSU, Mr. Wesley Peterson. What's up, Wes? How you doing?
What's up, Sonia? How you doing, my girl?
I am doing well. Well, the last time you were on the show was about 2 years ago, and we were audio. Yeah, we were audio only.
Oh, wow.
I done moved on up.
I see. It's good to see you, though, on video. We've talked a couple times, but it's good to see you.
I'm enjoying it. So how was your holiday with your family?
It was good. The kids, they got, pretty much everything that they wanted. I was able to get some rest and a little downtime, so it was good.
That's good. Yeah, I got a lot of rest, so I enjoyed it. Spent some time with my family, and yeah, that was basically it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, family.
That's what it's all about. When it's all is done with the gifts and all of that.
Yep.
And I got a puppy yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It's a black golden retriever, but per Google, it's really not a black golden retriever because most retrievers are, golden or reddish brown. It's a flat coat retriever. She's brownish, black brownish, and she's 2 months, and I'm sleepy.
She kept you up all night, huh?
Yeah. I took her to get shots today, and hope this is not too gross for y'all, but when she used the bathroom, I saw some worms, and I almost passed out, and it was rough. It's been a challenging day for me. Pray for me, because I just want her to I'm trying to get over this potty train, but I know it's not going to take over. I mean, it's not going to be overnight, but she's really smart. So
smart breed of dog, so.
Yeah, she noticed what I was doing with her as far as her potty train on the inside in the crate as well as outside, and she did it. She knew what I was doing. So,
okay.
So I'm just ready for it to get to the fun part. So we didn't come here to talk about pups, but her name is Nova Grace. She's
Nova Grace?
Nova Grace.
Okay, where did that name come from?
Well, I was looking for names for black dogs. I don't know if that's racist.
Black people dogs.
No, not black people dogs. Black names for black dogs. You're so silly.
Just saying,
No,
you could have some black people names.
Then it'd have been Kang, Man. No, it was black dogs, females. So I had a few names. It was, of course, Layla. I love Layla. So Layla Grace, Nova, Ebony Grace, Opal, and I looked up Nova, and Nova in the Bible means new. And I said, well, this is new. So Nova Grace. So she's a really sweet puppy, really sweet. So, okay, I'm over it. So I'll probably put some pictures up soon. So Wes, it's been a lot of rumbling in the transfer portal, and athletes decommitting, deciding to give other schools a shot. And as you know, the number one recruit in the nation, Travis Hunter, he decommitted from FSU, which is Coach Sanders' alma mater. and he's coming to JSU. And, it was a lot of, after that decision, the sports world was in a frenzy. And, it was being reported that Hunter was promised an NIL deal with Barstool Sports, for whom Sanders is a media personality and the subject of a documentary series on Jackson State football, saying that he was offered $1 million. And we know that's not true because we don't have any money. But do you think, what are your thoughts on that before I ask the other question? What are your thoughts on all of that?
I think that, first and foremost, congratulations to Jackson State for continuing to really do a good job in recruiting and putting a much needed spotlight on HBCU football and HBCU sports.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for those people who have whatever negative things they have to say, it's a case of sour grapes. I think Coach Deion Sanders, I think in one of his interviews, he put it the best way you can put it, that this young man didn't belong to anybody,
Right.
Possibly outside of his mama,
And God.
and God. But he didn't belong to Florida State. He didn't belong to, whoever else was trying to recruit him. And so kudos to that young man for making a decision. And so let's just say the NLI Barstool stuff is true. It's not illegal. It's not breaking any rules.
Yeah, I mean.
So if he can get $1 million, then let that young man get $1 million.
Well, I think Coach Prime said it best. How does he look coaching a kid that's making more money than him? He said that, I mean, they don't have the money to give him.
Let's just say it was true and Barstool did
it right.
I mean, there's nothing illegal against it. It doesn't go against any NCAA amateurism rules anymore with the NIL. And so there's no cap right now,
right.
Or a limit that a student can individually get for selling his or her name, image, and likeness. So, if it is true, or if it was true, so what's the big deal?
So do you think the rumors were started to discredit Coach Prime and JSU and what he's doing right now?
I think quick answer, yes, but longer, bigger answer is it's just you're gonna, if things keep trending this way, you're gonna see more HBCUs being a destination for some of the top athletes.
Right.
But the ones who are really good at recruiting, your Alabamas of the world, your Georgias of the world, places like that, they're not doing a whole bunch of whining about it. It's just those ones who are probably struggling. And, maybe their stock isn't what the alumni base think it is, or the fan base think it is. So, again, really kudos to these young men. If that's what they want to do, if they want to go to an HBCU, if they want to experience a different kind of culture, a different kind of pageantry around football and just sports in general, then I say kudos to them. As long as the HBCU or whatever school they go to lives up to what they promised the kid, then I think it's all good.
Well, speaking of promise, you don't, they shouldn't have never let Travis come to our homecoming. First of all,
yeah,
it was almost 60,000 people there.
Yeah.
It was the JSET's 50th anniversary. And when I say they put on a show, I was like literally in tears. I'm talking about from the JSETs from the 70s until now. Everybody was on point. And so yeah, you don't let your top recruit.
The thing of it is that there is not a homecoming like a HBCU homecoming. And each school, each university has its own kind of little wrinkle in what they do with things. And so, yeah, if you got a kid that's on the fence, yeah, you might not want to let them come to a HBCU.
No, especially not that weekend.
So for those people who may not have gone to a HBCU or gone to a HBCU homecoming, think of a family reunion, a block party, and any other kind of celebration with your family and friends, and multiply it by a million.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's nothing like it in the world. I've been to SEC games, I've been to Conference USA games, I've been to all kind of football games, and basketball games and things like that. And the energy is just different at a
It's
HBCU
different.
game. It's just different.
It's just different. And you hit it on the nose with the family reunion. I immediately heard the OJ's the family reunion. Because I mean that's exactly what it is. We just family. So a lot of you don't know, but Wesley was my manager. I call him boss. I interned with Jackson State, 2013 through 16.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And it's an all-day process to make sure you guys have a great experience at the game. However, when homecoming would come, I would be like, I'm not working. And he was like, Sonia, what are you? I because he knew. I mean, it was just my family was here. I can't. And I wanted to work, but sorry.
Yeah, that was the face I got a week homecoming from you. But those days were really fun, and even though they were long, they were special.
They were so
Um,
special.
I don't know how things are done now, but I'm assuming it's pretty similar
Right.
to that. So, but yeah, those were good days. Those were fun days.
Very fun days. Don't even do it.
Do what?
I
What you
thought you were
what?
gonna bring don't
Hold on.
bring
What
up.
are you talking about, Sonya? You talking about the phone call?
Yes, don't do it. And the text.
It was the same thing. It was only about 5 minutes.
We need to talk. Whatever. So back to the NIL. So hours after Chip Lamarca, which is a Florida state rep, he filed a new bill to amend the state's name, image, and likeness law, making it easier for the Sunshine State schools to facilitate NIL deals for their athletes. Now he said he was already working on it, but it just so happened the day that happened, he decided to file. So what does this bill say for other states? And do you think that they will follow suit?
Uh, you never know with things like these. And you never know the underlying reason for things, but like you said, it's a coincidence that this happened with the young man who decided to transfer. I mean, who decided to commit to Jackson State and this proposed bill. I do think that you kind of heard little rumblings around and saw things on social media about. I heard about the Barstool allegations against Jackson State, and I heard about some other things, and I do think that there is probably in the next couple of years going to be a little bit more of that coming down the pike. Possibly putting a cap or a limit on the NIL, which doesn't make sense to me, and try to regulate it in some kind of way. So I think that you may see some things that happen like that coming down the pike. But I think a few more top flight, high profile high school and junior college student athletes will have to make decisions to go to HBCUs, not just Jackson State, and really not just SWAC schools, but any program across the board.
Right.
And then you may see probably a much more concerted effort to really stem that tide, because that's really what it's about. I think that a lot of those bigger programs, Power Five programs and whatnot, I think maybe not the coaching staffs or the people in athletics, but definitely the fan bases and alumni think that they own these student athletes. And it's not even just the Black ones or whatever, it's all of them. They think that, they own these student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have these older these older people who I call themselves traditionalists, who don't agree with the NIL at all, because that wasn't their experience.
Mm.
And it's just another way to control these student athletes and kind of keep them under a thumb. But we've all heard about the bag man back in the day, the guy who came with the brown paper bag full of money. If you had a good game, you get the $500 handshake and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
at least now it's in the open. These students can make their money legally, and any other student who is in college or whatever, if they can get $1 million for a product that they have to offer, they're not being stopped. So why limit these student athletes? If when one of my kids are in college and she develops something that Ford wants, or Apple or whoever wants,
Mhm.
and they want to pay her $5 million, you know, and she's a regular student, there's nothing that can stop them from that person getting that money or getting that job. So that's the
That's
way I
true.
look at it.
That's true. So how does the NIL help level the playing field for HBCUs?
I think that, you know, if you the theory is, and to a degree is true, especially if you go to an Alabama or the two teams that were playing in the national championship game last night.
Mhm.
Um, uh, if you play for a certain, these bigger schools, you're going to get looked at by scouts. That's earning potential behind that. You have a degree, possibly, from that university. So that's earning potential behind that. I think that with the NIL, that kind of um, relaxes some of the financial constraints that people from less fortunate rural inner city situations may come from. So,
Mhm.
if your mom is a single mom working two jobs just to keep the lights on and, food in the house, and you can go to a particular school where in 2 years, 3 years, you can go out and possibly be a multimillionaire um, in 2 or 3 years. You're going to take that. That's your best option. But if you can go wherever you want to go now, and you're high profile enough and you can make $1 million deals right now, today, you're going to take that deal and go somewhere where you possibly can be happy. You feel comfortable in just about every situation. Not to say that at these other schools the student athletes don't feel comfortable,
Mhm.
but there have been stories and things about, I think this past week in the news, some Power Five former players were talking about some racist things that happen in football programs and stuff like that. So if you can go somewhere where you're comfortable, get $1 million, even $500,000, $20,000, whatever the case is, and then you still have a similar earning potential in 2 or 3 years, where you could possibly go to the NFL or to Major League Baseball or to the NBA or the CFL or a semi-pro league, then you'll take that option. So for me, it's just a win-win for a student to have options. I don't think you can ever have too many options at whatever stage of life you're in.
I agree with that. I still, and we've talked about this before, I still kind of have reservations about all of this. However, with the NIL, because it's about to get messy, because now the powers that be are not happy that certain recruits are going to HBCUs now. So now they want to change, just like with the voting. Now it's trying to oppress you. You make this rule, and then when it doesn't go your way, then you have to file bills and change it so it can fit you and then not benefit us. And that's one problem I have with it. And then I just, only thing I see good about this, because you mentioned, in 2 years you possibly can make $1 million. What if you don't make it to the NFL? What if, you hurt yourself? At least you have a head start in life than you would have had if you didn't have this NIL deal. Now you have $2 million. You can start your own business, buy a house or whatever, and or start a corporate job and have a nest egg. So it's a win-win in some cases, I believe. So
And one of the things that I read, I can't remember where I read it, but one of the things that I like, what about Deion Sanders is doing with the Jackson State program is not only are these students getting NIL endorsements and contracts, but the football program, the university, they are giving financial literacy courses to those players.
love it.
So that, if you blow your $1 million, you can't say that you didn't learn something at Jackson State with
Right.
Coach Brian and that football coaching staff or the athletic department. You can't say that you didn't know that you need to save whatever amount and do this with whatever amount. So that's the part that I really like, that and I heard a little bit about his kind of recruiting pitch, meaning Coach Brian, Coach Sanders, where basically he tells the mama, he's going to be treated like one of my sons. Whatever one of my sons know, he's going to know and have access to those same things. So you're going to have an opportunity to earn a degree from a state accredited college in the United States of America. You're going to have an opportunity to play on TV. He's delivered on that promise. And if you make some money while you're here off of your name, image, and likeness, you have resources available to you where you can, do something positive with that money and not just spend it. So, I think those are some really good things. And that may be the part of the piece that some of these other colleges are not really getting and providing to those student athletes that should be coming to their school.
Right. I agree. And then, I mean, you're about to learn from one of the greatest cornerbacks of all time. I would probably do it too. I know he was committed to FSU for 2 years, but I mean, I get it. I mean, it's a different situation, but I don't know.
A commitment is just like an engagement, the person ain't yours until you jump the broom.
That's
until
true.
you get them to the altar and say, I do. So,
That's true. And that's all it is. I mean,
that's all it is.
I'm giving you my ring. I'm giving you your ring back.
Sonia, I like you, and I'm gonna give you this ring.
Not you. I'm talking about Travis to FSU.
No, I'm just joking with you.
No.
I'm joking. Now, Sonia, I like you. I'm gonna give you this ring, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what. See, that's not how you propose.
That ain't how it worked.
No, that's not how it works. So, so Wesley, what do you think about some of the coaches, universities, and media pushing the narrative of, well, we kind of talked about that, putting a cap on an amount on the money. So
Yeah, I just think it's just salty feelings. It's just, this little small Black school in Mississippi wasn't supposed to be able to do some of the things that they're doing. They weren't supposed to have better recruiting classes than other FCS colleges and universities. They're not supposed to have a better recruiting class than a lot of the mid-majors and the mid-major conferences.
Mm-hmm.
They're not supposed to be able to get, coming out of high school, they're not supposed to be able to get 3, 4, and 5-star student athletes. You're not supposed to be able to do that stuff at an HBCU. So, that's just kind of, I just call it, sour grapes is what it is. And, if you can't recruit, then just go on and say that.
You should just go. So, speaking of recruiting class, do you believe JSU can get another top-ranked recruiting class again this year?
Yeah, it looks like they're really well on their way to doing it. But I think that, at JSU, you kind of have a perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of happening right now. You have a really magnetic personality in your head coach who, not only is who's in the conversation of the greatest football player to ever put on cleats, not just defensive back, not just defensive player. He's in the conversation of one of the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He was a dynamic personality, television personality, social media personality. You know, he has a huge following on social media. He's been on national TV as a commentator and a broadcaster. He's done a lot of things that keep him out in the spotlight. Then you have a university that has one of the richest traditions in football history, not just Black college football. You have one of the richest traditions in football in the country. And then you have a progressive athletic director who is, you know, really helping to push and change things at Jackson State. So you got kind of a perfect storm that can really, again, not just shine a spotlight on Jackson State, but it's shining a spotlight on all HBCUs, the SWAC and the MEAC. You know, those guys who played for South Carolina State in the Celebration Bowl. You know, the scouts, whoever was there, you know, whoever was watching may have been looking for Jackson State, but you know, some of those guys jumped up off the screen with their ability. So, you know, that was exposure that they may or may not have gotten thanks to Coach Prime and what he's trying to do.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's awesome.
So what other HBCU sports programs can benefit from Coach Prime's playback?
I think that, you know, anyone who wants to have a measure of success at another level, perhaps, you know, I think that definitely at Jackson State, you can see, I think the women's basketball program, not only are they winning again, they're getting some really good exposure. You know, I think that other sports, you know, men's basketball, baseball, and this is across the board for HBCUs. I think all the sports that are there can really take some elements from some of the stuff that Deion Sanders is doing with the football program and kind of apply what's applicable to their sport. The NIL is not just for football. It's not just a football thing. It can be used for any student athlete. So it will be interesting to see moving forward over the next year and the next couple of years, what other student athletes kind of step forward and are kind of put in those positions to, you know, make money at the end of the day.
That's true.
Yeah, I think any program that wants to be out there and do some really good things would have that opportunity. It's going to probably take a little extra work. I would assume you're not going to have all the resources that the football program and Coach Prime has, or any football program, but you know, it may just take a little bit of extra effort in calling people, reaching out to people.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to move from the SWAC and move to the SEC. We have to talk about this game, that the CFP national championship game that was on Monday night. Georgia Bulldogs beat Alabama State.
Not Alabama State.
Not Alabama, you know,
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide. I'm sorry. That's why I stopped. I was like, what? 33-18. Now, Wesley, you are Alabama born, Alabama bred. You're an Alabama man. And I know you were watching that game.
Yep.
What were your thoughts, you know, of what you saw?
Okay, the first thing that I'm going to say is, and I'm going to circle back a little bit to Coach Prime a little bit, because the SWAC was represented last night
in Affleck.
In the Affleck commercial. So that was one of the first things I thought. I'm like, look at the SWAC.
Right, we sneaking in there.
They sneaking into the national championship conversation.
I love it.
So that was one of the first things I thought. I just thought that overall, Georgia was the better team. I think they were the better team in the SEC championship game. They just got out-coached, outplayed in that game. I think Alabama had the better quarterback, heads and shoulders above Georgia's quarterbacks. But Georgia, again, being the better team, they were just hungry. They had a chip on their shoulder. And they, you could kind of see it from the beginning, from, the first snap, first kickoff, that they had a different level of, I won't say desire. They just had, there was something different about the way they were playing last night as opposed to the SEC championship.
And speaking of what you just said, and you brought up, Jackson State and Coach Prime again. Think about it. They got beat by the Bulldogs. Crimson got beat by the Bulldogs.
Maybe they ought to stop playing those
They
athletics.
need to stop doing those commercials.
Don't stop doing them. Just don't play them in the championship games.
And both teams were like the underdogs, and they were the hungriest.
So, okay, we'll circle back to the Jackson State, South Carolina State game. And I told you this like last year. You got mad at me, but I told you I thought Jackson State was a year away from being really good. I thought they were.
You said that, and I didn't agree with you.
Yeah, I thought that, and there was no disrespect to Jackson State at all.
Right.
I just thought that they hadn't peaked yet. You have a collection of talent and some really, really good players. But I just thought they hadn't had enough time to gel. Even the coaching staff, I don't think they had enough time to gel.
So you're still saying that after 11-2, 11-1?
Well, I mean, they lost. They lost the championship.
I understand that. I get that. But you made it seem like that we weren't going to even make it to the SWAC championship. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I
said whatever.
I said I didn't think we would win one last spring. I didn't think
I knew that. Yeah.
Much last spring, and then I thought in the fall, it was just they weren't ready yet. And that's just how I felt, just from what I could see. And watching, some of the games on ESPN and through the Jackson State Sports Network broadcast. So I thought they were just really talented, but had not really been tested by a good team, a really, really seasoned coaching staff that was, that had some good players to it. And you have to go through those things. I think I did a report a few years ago when I was still working in athletics, and I want to say Nick Saban, he had his first season was a losing season, and they got beat in a bowl game by somebody. You can't remember. They got beat by somebody, a team you would think they would beat. The second year, I think they were maybe 500, maybe it was the first non-losing season. So it took Nick Saban, maybe 2.5 years to get Alabama to rolling, and not to what they are now.
Right.
Just to get them up and going, because the program had been dormant and down for a while.
Right.
He had to rebuild that thing. So it's the same process
for
a school like Jackson State. And again, saying that a team is not ready yet is not any kind of disrespect to the coaches or to the players. It's just, you have to remember, the folks on the other sideline are competitors too. They have pride too. And, the coaches, a thing that's kind of a secret. And again, Coach Prime is bringing some of this to the forefront, things that perhaps Black people that follow this, or people who follow the SWAC and the MEAC know, is that they're good coaches in those conferences. There's some really good coaches in those conferences. And so if anyone who comes to one of those conferences just come in and think you're going to run things, it's probably not going to happen that way.
Right.
You're not just going to automatically be the top dog as far as X's and O's on the field and winning. But I think Jackson State had a really incredible year, and I don't see them taking any steps backwards.
Oh no, I don't either. We do need a backup quarterback, that is for sure. So I'm hoping they're working on that. That's my opinion. And will a lot of people's opinions. I mean, I think Shadur did a great job for a 18-year-old coming in. He needs some, he just need a backup and
Well,
work on a few things. He
so
needs to work on a few things for
I
sure.
see that differently too, because I just think he needs experience.
Right. Well,
I don't think,
he got it.
I don't think the backup is necessarily, obviously you want somebody that can win you some games if your starter gets hurt.
Right.
But I don't think the backup is the big key.
No, when I say he needs a backup, just like you said, if he gets hurt, if anything happened, we need to still be able to keep rolling and moving.
all right,
That's what I'm saying, to keep the train going. Because if he's hurt, then what? Then
right,
you know, we putting Wesley out there to go be a quarterback. I mean,
right.
so that's all I'm saying. I agree with you. No, he needs experience and he got it this year. And I think now he has a chip on his shoulder because of what happened in that Celebration Bowl. So
And the other parallel is that we were talking about how Jackson State, who was the top ranked team in the Celebration Bowl, came out and lost it to a good team that had experience and
mhm.
talent across the board and a really good experienced coaching staff. You go to last night where you have an 18, 19-year-old quarterback who was, the Heisman Trophy winner and all of these things. And, um, you know, he lost.
Yeah.
He played a really good game, I thought, despite, some of his people getting hurt and champions don't make excuses, but, he was down a bunch of players, but I saw him making really good throws. Same thing, with Jackson State as well. So I
Mhm.
think those are growing experiences. Those are learning things that will make those two teams that I root for better.
I agree. But the star of the game Monday night was Stetson Bennett, quarterback for Georgia Bulldogs. So a lot, if you don't know, Stetson was a walk on to Georgia. He left Georgia and went to a junior college, then left junior college and came back to Georgia. So and ends up being a hero and an MVP when it's all over. So, what are your thoughts on Stetson Bennett?
I thought he played a really good game. Uh, uh, he obviously was not the better quarterback or the
Mhm.
best quarterback, but he was the best quarterback in the second half. Um,
Huge plays. He made some huge plays.
yeah, I think he made the plays that he needed to make.
Hmm.
He made the throws that he needed to make for that team. The defense was the difference. Uh, their defense, meaning Georgia, they just got stronger as the game went on. Alabama's defense started out pretty strong, and then they kind of fell off, I think, in the second half. Georgia was able to really establish the running game. They broke a couple of big plays on the run in the running game that kind of set up some things for the quarterback to get some one-on-one matchups with some really tall, lanky, fast wide receivers.
Hmm.
I felt really bad for the Alabama defensive back. I can't remember his name. I think it's going to be good, but he got abused the second half.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I just think, I think Stetson Bennett, it's a feel-good story. You kind of like to see those things happen for a guy who, is undersized, wasn't supposed to be the starter. Um, their own fans, were always looking over his shoulder to get another guy to come into the
Mhm.
game and lead the team. But it seems like he was the leader that they needed. Um, and that was it was a pretty good story and a
Mhm.
pretty good ending for him.
Speaking of story, that feel good story made it to Good Morning America today. Stetson was on there. Stetson was a little drunk, had no sleep. And
That's
Mike
not good.
and Mike and Robin was cracking up because he was trying his best. They was like, "Have you gotten any sleep?" I mean, when I say he was zoned out, he was like, I mean, no, not really. But he, he did what he needed to do. But he definitely partied. So congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs as well as Stetson Bennett. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing some great things from him. I think this has built his confidence and it's gonna take him really, really far.
Yeah,
So
I don't think he was lacking in confidence. I think that
I'm talking about from being red shirted, walking on. I'm talking about the stages he had to do to get to where he was.
I think that to get to a place like that, to a level like that, you have to have confidence to believe in yourself when
Mhm.
nobody else. Obviously, maybe your
Oh
dad,
yeah.
maybe your mom, and siblings if you have any. Maybe those folks are believing in you, but um, those fans didn't, until last night. Really
Yeah.
Um, so
Well,
I think that Georgia is going to be obviously, one of the better teams in the Power Five. I think Alabama will be right there as well. So you never know; it could be those two, definitely in the SEC championship game again, and possibly in the college football playoffs again too.
cool. Yeah, their first win in 41 years. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was amazing.
That was amazing. So, but we have to talk about your coach, Nick Saban. He in the press conference on Monday night, Coach made sure the media knew that Bryce Young and Will Anderson are not defined by that one game and how great accomplishments they had made throughout the season. And when I saw that, I really, I always like had respect for him, but it took it to a whole different level because it's like, don't, you know, and he had to do that because you know how fans are, media, saying stupid stuff on their social media pages and just dogging them out. And I appreciate him doing that and standing up for them. But would you say he is definitely one of the greatest coaches of all time? Not just because, but that just added to it for me. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's right there, and definitely in college football. I think he's at the top of or near the top of anybody list of great
Mhm.
coaches. I think even LSU fans have to begrudgingly, say, "Hey, it
They got
is."
to give their heads off. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think he's, definitely one of the best, if not the best, of coaches. Period. In the regardless of sport or level of play. Um,
Hmm.
and I agree with what he said. I think those two young men, Will Anderson Jr. and Bryce Young, the game didn't really define them. I thought they both played incredible games.
Hmm.
Um, while for the quarterback, while his completion percentage might not have been what fans are used to, he was putting the ball there. He was making accurate throws under probably more pressure that he's seen all year. It's just unfortunate that his top two receivers were out and hurt, and then
Hmm.
you had to rely on some younger, inexperienced people, talented, very talented. You could see flashes from them even last night, but they were inexperienced. Um, and then with Anderson, he was the motor and the engine for the defense. I think Georgia did a really good job in the second half of kind of taking him out of plays where he couldn't make a lot of those big plays that he was making in the first half. So you're good when the other team really has to scheme against you and try to shut you down. So
Yeah.
uh, that's a compliment in itself, I think.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad he knows it's not just about X's and O's, but these are human beings and, just be kind. And I appreciate that. But
They're not professionals, so you
I
know
mean, it doesn't matter. You know how fans are. You remember what happened. What team was that? I can't even think of, but he was a college football player and he lost the game. I forgot what happened a couple of years ago. I can't even remember the team, but they like the fans went crazy and was like trying, I want to kill you, just stupid stuff.
Yeah,
They take it too far. They,
fans go overboard.
they're fanatics, you know, it's too far. So that's why I'm glad he said what he said. But Wes, before we go, first of all, thank you so much for joining me today. But before we go, I play a game called You Can Get With This or You Can Get With That.
Mm-hmm. What
that is, it's a way for the listeners and myself to get to know the guests better. So I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the one that best fits you. No answer is wrong. It's just what best fits you. You ready?
I guess we're gonna see.
Kevin Hart or Cat Williams?
Ooh, that's a tough one. And
they both got different styles, but I love them both.
They do. I'm gonna have to go with Cat Williams on that one. If it's stand-up comedy. If it's stand-up comedy, I'll go with Cat Williams. If it's movies, I'll probably go with Kevin Hart.
Okay. And you better get this one right. Gary Payton or Michael Jordan?
As far as what? It's Michael Jordan. If you got your own shoes named after you, it's gonna be you.
You said as far as what?
It's Michael Jordan. You got your these are the people who got shoes. Michael Jordan, Kenneth Cole.
I think the glove had some shoes.
I don't remember him having shoes.
I don't know.
I remember him being in Nikes.
Yes,
but
I
could be wrong.
I know.
I never bought a pair.
No,
I never bought a pair of gloves.
I'm messing with you because I know that's probably what they would have been called, the gloves.
Nah.
Okay, good job. Crock pot. Would you prefer using a crock pot or air fryer?
It depends on what I'm cooking. Wings, wings is going to be an air fryer.
But but the air fryer is quicker also than a crock pot.
But if it's something, like a Sunday meal, like
a roast or something.
A roast or something like that, then you got to go with the crock pot.
So which one do you choose?
Okay, Saturday is the air fryer. Sunday is the
crock pot. Gosh, that's not how this works. Okay. Okay, do you prefer to drink iced water or room temperature water?
Ice water with lemon.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's how I drink mine. Okay. 90s R&B or 90s hip hop? Because both of them was banging. Oh my God.
They were. I thought you was going to say 90s R&B or whatever we got today.
Oh, that's foolishness. Are you serious? No, I wouldn't do that. I already know.
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to go with 90s hip hop.
Really?
Yeah,
what was one of your favorite hip hop groups or
you can't go wrong, in my opinion, with Tupac and Biggie. For me, it's not a or. I love them both. I'm not from LA or New York, Alabama. So I love them. Outkast. LL was still banging back then in the 90s.
NWA, gangster rap came in. NWA, that was 89.
Yeah, Ice Cube, NWA, Snoop, all of that. Whatever was playing in the club was good.
You know what? To be honest, what you just said, that's true. Most of it was really really good hip hop. It was evolving to another place that we had never seen it before. So it was, but what I love, and because I was a music major, but I remember when Tribe Called Quest came out and they was rapping over a jazz, oh my God, a jazz tune or beat. That was amazing. So I really
Digable Planets was dope.
Mhm.
All of that, yeah. You can just
You be all day.
all of that, yeah.
Do
But the
you?
R&B was good too.
Oh yeah,
I can't forget Tony
absolutely.
Braxton and
Jade.
yep, Janae,
Oh, Jean, it was
Joe, um,
Devin Campbell.
yeah, all of that,
All of that. It was really good.
all of that.
Do you prefer washing dishes or by hand or dishwasher?
Dishwasher, yeah.
Mm.
Scrape that plate out first though.
Mm-hmm.
Scrape it out.
Actually, kind of rinse it.
Yep.
And then next thing I know, I'm washing them in the sink. So I mean, it's just. Do you prefer on a cold day? Do you prefer chili or red beans and rice?
uh, ooh, cold day, I'm gonna go with chili. Yeah, I'm gonna go with chili on a cold day.
Are you eating rice with it or Frito chips or cornbread?
Uh, Crackers, saltines.
Mm. Yeah, you real country.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was like, what?
Now hold up. What you eat with yours? Cornbread.
No, the chips, the dip, the scoop, Frito scoops.
Really?
I love that.
With
Yeah.
cheese in it?
Yes, with
Okay.
jalapenos. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well,
And
that's okay.
then,
Other than the chili.
well, I don't really eat hot dogs anymore, but sometimes like if I had like this, it wasn't that much left, I would make chili dogs. And so I'll go
Okay.
get Kentucky Fried Chicken coleslaw
Oh yeah.
with cheese
Chili.
and mustard. Oh
Chili
my
slaw
God.
dog. Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So good eating, good eating. Do you prefer football or basketball?
Football.
Okay.
But I love NBA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, did you prefer or still prefer Good Times, the sitcom, or What's Happening? Da-da-da, Good
Um,
Times.
Good Times, because Thelma was on Good Times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
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 Everybody love Thelma.
Everybody love Thelma.
Still look good.
She does.
Last but not least, I'm gonna see how loyal. Well, I'm just gonna see. Do you prefer who's the better coach? Who's the well? I already know who the but I ain't gonna even say the best coach, but which did you prefer? Coach Bear Bryant or Coach Nick Saban?
Oh, Nick Saban.
Really?
Yeah, Nick Saban.
Tell me
Uh,
why.
um, I like his approach to doing things. You know, when I was young, uh, and really just starting to understand football and get into it, but Brian was really old and on his way out.
Yeah, he was on his
You
we
know,
were kids.
he wasn't, you know, in his prime. And even though Nick Saban is older now, I think he's 70 something. He's still, for the most part, it seems like in his prime. But I just like his approach to things, the way he, um, his process. So I'll say this: I think he is the greatest recruiter that probably ever lived. That's a head
Wow.
coach. I think that is the kind of the key, or one of the keys to his success.
Mhm.
I don't think he's a great on the field coach. I think he's very good, but I don't think he's great at that particular piece. But the truth is, if you got a bunch of small guys running around versus a bunch of big guys,
Mhm.
it don't matter how good of a coach you are. The bigger guys are gonna win. The better guys are gonna win. So,
That's true.
yeah. But I just think he's an incredible recruiter. He seems to be a decent person.
He does. He does.
And one of the things I can respect is that if he makes a mistake, or when he makes a mistake, he owns up to
He
it.
owns up to it.
Whether his wife make him or not, he does
He does. But you know what? Thank God for wives.
Yeah, that's true.
Wise,
Thank God for
wise with wisdom. I agree.
Yeah.
Wesley, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Red.
Really, absolutely. And guys, please follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook. She Say Sports 23 on IG. at She Say 23 on Twitter. And please, please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports.